Your goal is not in her. She's a diamond under.
So we're gonna start the stream by covering this this article, which it's really interesting because it indicates, you know, a few good things and a bit of a slowdown. So no, it's not going to downtrend. Call that clickbait, but we are starting to see a market slowdown. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad thing. It's more inventory related than anything else, as we'll see in the article. So the article's from AZ Big Media, and it's, you know, the title is "Housing Forecast Reveals Trends You Need to Watch in 2020." Now, this area right here is what we're going to primarily focus on. The article indicates that home prices will flatten, increasing just 0.8% nationwide, which still, you know, is a positive indicator. In Metro Phoenix, home sales are predicted to drop 0.4%, while prices are expected to rise 3.4%, which is the seventh highest price increase among the largest 100 markets in Arizona. Now, I created a previous video where we covered the overall population growth, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of my posts stating that Arizona is growing by approximately 100,000 people a year. So obviously this is going to lead to inventory shortages and obviously increased prices. To continue, inventory shortages will prevail and could reach historic lows, especially the entry-level category. Mortgage rates will remain reasonable, averaging 3.85% throughout the year. Now, mind you, this is based on what AZ Big Media is indicating. You know, as we all know, interest rates fluctuate, and you know, to get more accurate percentages, you want to definitely go through your lender. Affordability will remain a key driver for buyers, benefiting mid-sized markets. Now, here's what I found really interesting: millennials with the oldest members approaching 40 and the biggest cohort turning 30 in 2020 will surpass 50% of all home purchase mortgages, which historically millennials were not buying homes. So this is very positive in my opinion, and I think will be, you know, driving future home sales. With little incentive to sell, baby boomers will continue to hold on to their homes, while Gen X is more likely to upsize, freeing up some entry-level inventory. So just some interesting information, guys. It's still looking positive, although we are seeing a bit of a slowdown. I would encourage you to look up this article, AZ Big Media, Housing Forecast Reveals Trends You Need to Watch in 2020. Okay, continuing on, some other interesting news, and hardly relevant, but I thought this was really neat. Lincoln Property Company sells Grand One for $90 million. We're continuing to see expansion in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and I'm sure we will continue seeing Silicon Valley companies moving to the area and continuing to grow our commercial footprint. So that, I just thought this was kind of a neat article to quickly skim over. There's quite a bit of investment going on in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Fountain Hills. I know that there's new subdivisions moving out into the outskirts of the Fountain Hills area. Ryan, welcome. Curtis, welcome. All right, here's another neat article from the LA Times. Phoenix Suns owner Robert Savers' Arizona mansion sells for record $19.25 million. That is absolutely insane. Obviously, you know, it's increasing with the trends. We know that home prices are rising, as we reviewed in the previous article, indicating down here that prices are expected to rise an average of 3.4%. So this is, I thought, was really, really neat. This house is absolutely insane. Look at this thing. This thing is absolutely mind-boggling. All right, moving on to the market summary for Northern Arizona. And again, Diego, welcome. This is an analysis for the Navajo, Apache County areas. So pretty standard numbers. We all know that the market slowed down over the winter, especially when we start seeing snow. We start seeing less visitors from the Phoenix, Tucson areas. Obviously, they don't want to be in the snow unless you're going up there skiing, especially during the holiday season. I mean, obviously, people are busy traveling and whatnot. So we see the number of listings has definitely ticked down to about the 800, I'd say 900 level. Listing prices have continued to rise, though, which is positive, especially the median. Look at that. So that's actually quite interesting. Days on market, as anticipated, has ticked up, but hasn't quite reached February and January levels. So something to keep an eye on. And as you can see, we can move on, and you see the rest of these numbers, all relevant. But I thought this was quite interesting, nonetheless. So I'm gonna open up for questions for about 2 or 3 minutes before we continue. How's everybody doing? How's your day going? Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think this next year is going to hold? I thought this article was really interesting. Came out December 5th. So it's relatively recent. Marissa, welcome. Thank you for joining us again. Sounds like I had some technical issues on a previous stream. But yeah, what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. I still think the news is positive. I mean, again, we're looking at a 3.4% average price increase prediction. Again, we do know that Arizona's population is rising by approximately 100,000 residents a year. A good portion of that coming from California. Looks like mortgage rates, again, they're predicting they will stay relatively low. Again, another good indicator, millennials are starting to purchase homes, where I know that was a concern historically. Do you guys have any questions, concerns, criticisms? So let's go into this. What will 2020 be like for buyers? Buying a home in 2020 will be a mixed bag. It will offer more opportunities for some as the supply of new homes begins to offset inventory pressure that has built over the last 4 years. Now, to add to that, we know that in 2008, 2009, I know that quite a bit of building did slow down. So we know that construction is starting to ramp up, especially in the state. Shannon says, we plan on building, so I'm curious to see what happens to the cost of materials. I've heard, Shannon, that materials overall are quite expensive. I mean, again, this is all hearsay. I know I talked to several contractors in the White Mountain area, even down here in the Valley, and they all indicate that things are certainly getting pricey. I do know that everybody's holding their breaths right now based on what the economy is going to do. The cost increased in 10%. Here's the thing. I don't think this is going to be a real estate related crash this time. I mean, again, this is pure speculation. So I'm by no means an expert. I focus on real estate primarily, but we know in 2008 we had a housing crash. I suspect that it's going to be a different one this time, but time will tell. Really, again, I'm not a contractor. That's not my area of emphasis. But hey, you know what? I really do hope materials will remain reasonable. Yeah, see, exactly. Just you, like many. So Shannon says she's not going to build until about 2020 to really see what happens with the election. it's kind of interesting to see how politics are playing into the economy right now, right? Obviously, I'm not going to get political on the stream, whichever way. But either way, I think everybody's holding their breaths. That's really what it's coming down to. But real estate is still big. People are still optimistic overall. Right, exactly. I mean, there's certain more consumer protections right now. So Shannon says it'll be different. The faulty lending practices were more to blame. Again, I generally don't like to speculate, but I do think that the recession is going to be different. But by no means am I a financial expert. That's not my area of expertise. But some of the lenders I've spoken to recently are saying that, things are looking, especially in Arizona. I mean, if you think about it, we're growing. A lot of states are losing population. We're having a hard time keeping up with the influx of residents. I mean, we, especially with a lot of Silicon Valley companies moving into our area. Overall, Arizona seems to be doing quite well. Excuse me. So I do expect to see at least our numbers to at least maintain. But as you can see, according to this article, they're forecasting an increase. Which is quite positive. So again, here's another section on the article. Millennials expand their domination in the market. Demand from those born between 1981 and 1997 reached new heights in 2020, with millennials accounting for more than 50% of all mortgages by spring. Several factors are at play here. In 2020, the largest cohort of millennials, 4.8 million of them, will turn 30, time when many purchase their first home, while the oldest members of the generation will reach 39. Often a point when many look to move from the city to the suburbs for family-friendly amenities. So again, that's very, very positive. Neil, welcome. And another really positive aspect is just outright the low inventory. I mean, that's, it's basic economics is, usually if you have a low supply and high demand, prices tend to creep up. Now, unless we have low demand with low inventory, then that's a different story. So another thing I wanted to cover in this stream was, we're going to leave it on that, but I wanted to cover some first-time homebuyer tips. So again, as during the winter, the White Mountain area definitely certainly slows down quite a bit. But that doesn't mean that we can't get ready. We can't prepare ourselves and keep certain things in mind so that we are more wise as to the process. So the first thing I would recommend for a first-time home buyer is to talk to a lender. There's a lot of opinions out there, and as many of you know, realtors tend to be fairly opinionated. A lot of them are, but nothing can beat talking to a market expert. Especially they could help you plan. They could help you give you some insight into what your budget's going to look like when it comes down to buying a home. They could give you an idea, as far as what you can afford, what steps you should take, possibly to positively influence your credit. Also, they can help you understand the various types of mortgages. For example, you have your conventional FHA, USDA, and VA options. So it's always wise, before you even start looking for a home, to talk to a lender. Get some, you go on, online and then look at some reviews, see which lenders are providing the most value. It's always a good step to take. And the next, you want to pick the right agent. And by the right agent, I mean, make sure that the agent is a good fit for you. Every agent is going to say that they're the best, and there's tons of good agents out there. I'm not going to be the one to say that, oh, I'm the best one out there. What I'm here to say is make sure that the agent you do select is a good fit for you. And what do I mean by good fit? You want to make sure that you guys click, that you jive together, that chemistry, the professional chemistry is there. A good agent will listen to you more than they'll speak. Communication is key in a real estate transaction. If you're not getting along and you're not communicating well, well, it's just going to make a process more stressful, something that should be, fun. Brianna, welcome. Some common mistakes made by first-time home buyers. One thing that I've seen, many times, and even when I bought my first home was a mistake I made. I didn't budget for closing costs. You have to remember, closing costs can range between 2 and 5%. You can shop around, but there will be closing costs. There are also programs that could help you offset those costs, which, obviously at that point, by speaking to a lender, you will be able to more accurately predict what those costs will be. Keep in mind your moving related expenses. Those can add up, especially if you're traveling, a distance. In fact, me and Lisa recently moved, and I think it ended up costing us upwards of four figures. So, obviously in the low, but still, it's not a cheap endeavor. And be sure to shop around for homeowners insurance. You don't have to take the first suggestion. You could shop around. Oftentimes, you can save yourself $100-$150 a month, even more. So moving on. An interesting article I saw, and this is kind of unrelated to the other things that we covered. The White Mountain Independent stated in an article that Apache County's poverty rate is at 36% and Navajo County's is at 30%, compared to a statewide percentage of only 18%. Now, anybody who's local in the White Mountain area knows that this isn't really news, but it's interesting to see what the percentages really are. 36 and 30% are quite high, if you ask me. So, does anybody have any questions, any inputs? You're welcome to participate in the comments section. Natasha, welcome. Dustin, welcome. We're going to move on to the live Q&A portion of the video here shortly. I'll stay online for about 5 to 10 minutes to really give you guys someone to ask questions to and whatnot. So vocabulary for the day today, because I know there's a lot of new terms. When you're buying a home, there's a lot of terms that are getting thrown around that people aren't familiar with. Not that you don't understand, but if you're working in the industry, you hear these terms continuously. But if you're new to the buying process, it can be somewhat of a learning curve. Best time to look at getting repossessed tax land. Ooh, that's a good question, Dustin. That's not my area of expertise. I've worked with foreclosures in the past, and I actually invested in foreclosures historically, but I've never dealt with repossessed tax land. I'm sure you could reach out to the county, and the county can definitely give you some information on that. You have to also remember, land, the taxes are paid in arrears, but you have to pay them twice a year. So possibly, during tax time, I don't know. Hey, Sherry, welcome. I'm doing very, very well. So anyways, going back to the vocabulary for the day, amortization schedule. An amortization schedule is a complete table showing your payments, principal, and interest over the course of a loan. Now, if you're getting a mortgage, on average, your lender should provide an amortization schedule, or you could at least ask for one. So again, amortization schedule is a complete table showing your payments, principal, and interest over the course of the loan. Dustin, as far as, going back to what would be the best time to look at repossessed tax land, let me look into that for you and I'll get back to you. Actually, if you want to message me your phone number or something, I'll make a few phone calls. I know people who do specialize in that, so I can reach out to them and definitely give you an answer. But as of right now, I'm not going to blow smoke. I really don't know. I haven't dealt with it very much. How's everybody doing? Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if there's something you want me to find out for you. I'm here to help. Rob, welcome. I'll be online for another 2 or 3 minutes to answer questions. Obviously sometimes I don't know them, but on average, we're usually pretty good about answering them. Hey, no worries, Dustin. Like I said, if I don't know something, I'll just outright say I don't know, but I will find out. So that's what I'm here for. We're only human. We can't know everything, right? Mark, welcome. Welcome. We're in a live Q&A portion of the video. Obviously, I will release the video after I do some editing and post it on Facebook, so you could go back and rewatch. This time we did a little bit of screen sharing to really give people some insight into the articles I was looking at. But there was a few good ones from AZ Big Media, which were really interesting. This one right here, the one about the housing forecast. And most interesting was this section. This section right here we want to look at. So just to recap real quick, we're looking at home prices. They're predicting in 2020 that home prices will flatten, increasing just 0.8% nationwide. In Metro Phoenix, home sales are predicted to drop 0.4%, and prices are expected to rise 3.4%. Now, you can attribute that to low inventory levels. There's a shortage of homes, guys. So if you're looking to list, let's get you on the books. They're predicting that mortgage rates will remain reasonable at 3.85%. Now, mind you, this is all speculation, so things can change. Welcome, guys. Millennials, another really strong indicator. Millennials are starting to purchase more homes. It's very, very positive. And they're accounting for more than 50% of all home purchase mortgages. I thought that was really, really interesting. Alrighty, guys. Well, if there are no more questions, I am gonna cut the stream. I will edit the video and upload it later on. I thank everybody for joining me on this live stream. Really appreciate your input and you taking the time out of your busy schedules to support your local realtors. Thanks, guys, and have a great evening.